Welcome back to some more mathematical fun. Now you can probably see you got it number 2. I saw the double shaded area in the wrong place. So what I'm going to have to do is redo my problem, but that's okay. Does everybody see this area down here? It's hard to see as I messed it up myself. This area down here is the double shaded area. Now if you ever have a question on a test or a quiz about where the double shaded area is because I can't print things in color, you let me know, okay? That's the double shaded area, boop, 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 right there. Let's label this as equation 1 and this is equation 2. All right, equation number 1, and we're answering 2a. The 2a says, what system of inequalities represents this graph? Well, number 1, I want to be the solid line, so let's go ahead and indicate that. It's kind of just writing over everything I had, huh? We know we're going to have a y, and we know we're going to have an x. Now look at the solid line. Is it above or below the solid line, the double shaded area? Hopefully you'll say it's below. So we're going to use less than. But not only are we going to use less than, we're going to use less than or equal to because it's a solid line. Please find your y-intercept. Take a moment. Positive 1 is your y-intercept. So hopefully you got that. Now take a moment. If positive 1 is your y-intercept, try to find your slope. I'm hoping you got that it's up 1, right 2, up 1, right 2. That means your slope is up 1, right 2. In other words, 1/2 goes in front of x. Okay, you made your first equation. Let's talk about your second one now. Your second equation is going to have a y, it's going to have an x. It's what diagonal lines have. And we might want to indicate to ourselves, well, this is the broken one. That might help us later. Our y-intercept is a positive 1. Now, before we do the slope, is it shaded above or below the broken line? It is shaded below the broken line. So we use less than. Not equal to, because it's not solid. And then please take a look at the graph and find the slope. So if this was your y-intercept, how do you get to the next point? Down 1, right 2, I hope you thought. So that's negative 1 over 2, and that goes in front of x. So we did 2a, we have our 2 inequalities. So that was for 2a. Now let's talk about 2b. 2b is a great question. In part 2a, this one right here, is the point where they meet, where they intersect, is that a solution? So I'm talking about this point right here. I want you to guess yes or no. I'm hoping you're saying no. It is not a solution. Now, why? Why isn't a solution? The reason is because one line is not equal there. Okay, now when I say one line, guess which line that is? The broken line. And if the broken line isn't equal there, then it has to be both of them. So that's a no-go. It has to be both lines that are solid there in order for that to be true. All right, let's move on. Page 3-ish. Oh, good, a word problem. I know you're looking forward to it. Using it. Here we go. We're going to use what we learned. Time management. Oh, that's good. You are planning what to do after school. You can spend at most 6 hours a day playing basketball and homework. You want to spend less than 2 hours playing basketball, but you must spend at least an hour and a half on your homework. What is the graph showing how you can spend your time? This is really kind of cool. So here we go. Let's talk about some limits. All right, limits. First of all, it says you can spend at most 6 hours doing both. Well, I'm guessing you know that's x and y. You guys remember that? Oh, by the way, they told you what they want x to be. Okay, just so you know, they told you what they want x to be. They told you what they want y to be. Okay, x is basketball. Okay, so if you know that x and y has to be at most 6 hours, does that mean less than or greater than 6 hours? I hope you know it means less than or equal to 6 hours because it says at most 6, so it has to be less than or equal to 6. Well, good, we have one equation, that is one limit. So this is your hours limit. Your next limit is about basketball. The next sentence says something about basketball. I would not be playing basketball at all. Quick story, I played basketball for 1 week and then I got sick of running, so I quit. Okay, so you want to spend less than 2 hours playing basketball. So here's 2 hours, and it says you want to spend less than 2 hours playing basketball. Well, what that means is less than 2 hours playing basketball should look like that, and basketball is X. Notice it said absolutely nothing about studying on that one. So it's just X is less than 2. And then the next sentence you have, you must spend, though, at least an hour and a half on homework. So here's your hour and a half. This is your homework equation. And we know Y is homework. And it says you must spend at least an hour and a half on homework. So you better be spending an hour and a half or more on homework. So the hour and a half or more gives you the greater than or equal to. Well, let's go ahead and graph these. Now, you have to remember some things Mr. Lankus taught you, okay? X is an up and down line. Y is a left and right line. We can talk about that more when you come in if you want to write that down. I'd be more than happy to explain why if you kind of forget. So we have 1, 2, 3 things to graph. Let's talk about the first one. Let's fix it. The first equation can be rewritten as Y is less than or equal to negative X plus 6. Let's go ahead and find our y-intercept of 6 and our slope of negative 1 over 1. Plot positive 6 by going up 6 and making a dot. Then go down 1, right 1, 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 down 1, right 1. I'm going to stop once I get to the bottom of the graph. I hope you guys took the time to go the whole way like I did. And notice they only gave us the first quadrant of a coordinate plane because you can't spend negative time on homework and negative time playing basketball. Now let's graph number 2. Number 2 is an up and down line where X is 2. It's broken because it's not equal to. And connect with arrow. You don't really need arrows on this problem, I guess, because again, you're not going to spend negative time. You can make it go up, but you don't need it to go down because you're not going to do negative time. And then the last one, oh, it got very dark. The last one is Y is greater than or equal to 1.5. So you go to where Y is 1.5, so here's 1, so here's 1.5. And this is a solid line this time. I'm only going to draw my arrow towards the positive way because, again, you can have negative time. All right, now, let me turn on a big light here. Woo! Well, that's funny looking. Oh, well, you can deal with it. All right, so we have our equations now. All we have to do is shade, and I'm going to darken these because the video is really not doing the light justice. Okay, so there's the 1.5 one. Here's the broken one at 2, and here's the diagonal. Okay, there, those look a little better. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to shade these. You can shade them all at once or you can wait. What I do know is that this one, the diagonal, I have to shade below my diagonal. So if you want to kind of visually just shade below your diagonal super light, go ahead and do that. For my up and down line, it says I have to shade smaller than my up and down line. So that's this area over here. Ooh, I can see an overlap. Now you see this left and right line? It says I have to shade above my horizontal line, so that's anywhere up here. So what you guys have to do is figure out where in the world do all 3 of these items cross. All 3 of these items cross below the diagonal, below the up and down line, and above the left and right line. That's this area right here. I'm going to darken it in. Kind of a funny area to be shading. See that area in there? That's everything that is a possible solution. So let me give you an example. I hope you agree that the point over 1 up 3 is in there. Do you agree over 1 up 3 is inside of there? That's an X and a Y, right? So I hope you agree that number 1, you can spend 1 hour playing basketball. That's allowed. right? You can do 1 hour playing basketball because it says it has to be smaller than 2. It says then that you can spend 3 hours playing homework, yeah. Like you guys think this is playing. 3 hours doing homework. I hope you guys agree that it says you have to spend more than 1.5 doing homework, so that 3 fits. And if you add these together, I get a total of 4 hours. And that fits this equation up here that has to be smaller than 6. So anything inside of here, including the top line, including the bottom line, but not including the broken line, is a solution. Oh good, we have another word problem for you. You want to build a fence for a rectangular dog run. You want the run to be at least 20 feet wide. The run can be at most 50 feet long. You have 126 feet of fencing. What is a graph showing the possible dimensions? Oh look guys, multiple choice. Unfortunately for you, I'm going to make you do this the long way. So here we go, let's talk about our limits. Yay! Is this it? So you can be excited, we're almost done. Alright, so your limits. First thing is you want the run to be at least 20 feet wide. Now if you've noticed, they made wide the y's. Oh, that sounds funny. They made wide the y's. So we're going to have to do y is at least 20 feet. That means greater than or equal to. And then they made long, see how they made long, the x. They said you need the run to be at most 50 feet long. So I can do less than or equal to 50. Okay? At most means less than or equal to 50. And you have 126 feet of fencing. So obviously you can't use any more than that. So less than or equal to 126 because it's all you have. Do you guys remember perimeter? Since we're like, doing a, we're doing a rectangle here. The width is y and the length is x and x. Perimeter is, you remember this, 2x and 2y, right everybody? Good. Alright, so we have 1, 2, 3 limits. Now what we have to do is find the one that fits it. If you want to solve the bottom one, you take the 2x over, so you get negative 2x plus 126. You divide by your 2, so you get y is less than or equal to negative x plus 63. Okay, so your this one's your diagonal line. It has to be below your diagonal line because this is less than. It needs to be below, what kind of line is this? Since it's x, it needs to be below the straight up and down line. And you see this one, what kind of line is that? That's the left and right line. It has to be above your left and right line. So let's take a look at it. Where do you see that it's below the diagonal? To the left or below the straight line? And above the horizontal line. The only option? Option A. See, I didn't even make you graph it yourself. Alright, on the back, the lesson check. I did want to go over one of them. I know you thought you were getting off the hook. You're not. Number 3 is one that I wanted to go over. Cherries are $4 a pound. Grapes cost $2.50 a pound. You spend no more than $15 on fruit, and you need at least 4 pounds of fruit. See, this is kind of a cool problem. You might need to know this. What is a graph showing the amount? We're not going to do a graph, but I do want to see if you can do the equation. Alright, I would love it if you would pause the video and try this by yourself, but I know some of you won't do that. So I'm going to go on. I would encourage you though to pause it and then take a look. Alright, I'm going to use C for cherries and G for grapes because that's what I do. Cherries, I know, are $4 a pound and grapes are $2.50. And I have a limit here. I have a limit of 15 bucks. Not allowed to spend any more than that, so less than or equal to it. And C and G are going to be how many pounds? So C plus G has to be less than or equal to 15. And I do have one more. I need 4 pounds of fruit, like all together. Actually, excuse me. C plus G. Rewind. I see my first limit is I have $15 and I have to spend less than or equal to that. So $4 for every C and 2.5 for every G has to be smaller than or equal to 15. This is my money equation. And then it tells me that together, C plus G, I'm sorry, I'll keep my G normal. I have to have at least 4 pounds, so greater than or equal to 4 pounds. So this is my pound equation. That's all I wanted to do, is to see if you can make the equations. You can graph it on your own, and then you can check your answer with me. I'll just have to do that, so just make sure you let me know if you want to go over this one. Just making sure that you can make the two equations. Other than that, have a good night.